don't think, hey, I can't make it to the gym, so I'm just gonna do nothing. Really dial in your bodyweight workouts to not only improve your muscular strength, but even your muscle hypertrophy. Hey guys, it's Corey from Redefining Strength, and today I want to talk about how to dial in your bodyweight workouts if you don't have access to any equipment. Whether or not you're working out at home or traveling, you can use your own body weight to get really fabulous results. And I want to share with you 5 ways to really dial in those bodyweight workouts to get better results faster. I just got voted one of the 10 best online home workouts by The Guardian, so I wanted to share some tips and tricks to create the perfect home workout. Plus, I've created 2 done-for-you workouts with sets and reps for you to try out this week. Tip number 1 is to focus on compound and hybrid movements. When you're short on time or only using your own body weight, you want to work more large muscle groups at once, and compound or hybrid movements allow you to do that. Compound movements are multi-joint movements. Hybrid movements often combine 1 or 2 movements together to work more muscle groups at once and even move you in different planes of motion all at once. Both of these are very time efficient and really help you build functional strength. If you don't have a lot of time, if you only have your own body weight, you don't want to waste time with a ton of isolation moves. That doesn't mean that you can't sort of target some of those trouble zones by including hybrid movements. With hybrid movements, you can actually combine a compound exercise with a more isolated movement. So you could combine, say, like a plank shoulder tap with a push-up to really work your shoulders a little bit more. Or you could do a push-up scorpion, where you're combining the push-up with a scorpion plank. This can be a great way to target your core more and really get your upper body working as well. So the more you can think about working the large muscle groups, the more you can think about combining movements to get better results faster, the more you're also going to challenge your body without any equipment. I also like doing things like, say, the side lunge, the side to curtsy lunge, because the side lunge itself, especially if you don't have any weights, may not be challenging after a while. So if you actually combine it with a second movement, not only do you move in another plane of motion, but you even challenge your legs and spend a little bit more time under tension. You also work those muscles in different ways. You want to think about getting the most out of your workouts and really finding ways to advance basic bodyweight movements. Tip number 2 is using unilateral variations of movements. So if you think about the basic bilateral bodyweight squat, it can become easy very quickly. So instead of doing 2 legs, try a single leg squat. Now you may be thinking, okay, the pistol squat's a little out of my reach right now. What can I do to still get some of the unilateral benefits? Think about a single leg squat to bench, or couch or chair, or whatever you have around. You can also do 80-20 variations of some of those unilateral moves that are too advanced. For an 80-20 variation, you're still keeping the other foot or other hand down on the ground to help you balance and stabilize, but you're shifting more of your weight to one side. You could do an 80-20 squat or even an 80-20 push-up if you want to get a little bit more of a unilateral focus. You can also do a staggered stance deadlift. All these are great ways to get some of the unilateral benefits and advance that basic bilateral move when you don't have weights. You're adding more instability to the movement, which is going to challenge your core more, and you're actually adding loads to that one side that is working. So if you can't do a full single leg deadlift, try the 80-20 variation. If you can't do a full single leg squat, try an 80-20 variation, or even change the range of motion. Same goes for that single arm push-up. Say the basic bodyweight push-up's too easy and you've tried some fun hybrid variations, but you're thinking, hey, I want to try that unilateral variation and build up. You can even try that off an incline. That way you're regressing the movement a little bit while still getting the unilateral benefits. This brings me to tip number 3, which is change the range of motion. By using an incline for that single arm push-up, you're regressing that full single arm push-up from the ground. You can also use an increase in range of motion to increase the challenge of a movement. So doing a decline push-up where you're actually working through a bigger range of motion can make it harder. So not only can you take that single leg squat and do it off a bench to make it easier than the full pistol, but you can also use range of motion to make it harder. You can do the decline push-up, or you can even advance, say, the basic split squat by doing it with your back foot up. And you can do a Bulgarian split squat or a balance lunge. By working through a bigger range of motion, you're going to challenge your body a little bit more. You'll also add a little instability in many cases. If you've been working to improve your mobility, it's really key you also strengthen through that full range of motion. That's where some of these different ranges of motion can really come into play. Doing that balance lunge where you can actually lunge through a bigger range of motion may help you retain that mobility you're actually working towards. So the bonus is not only does it make that basic bodyweight movement more challenging, but it actually helps you become more mobile and stronger through that range of motion. You can also change ranges of motion and increase your time under tension. Changing that basic bodyweight squat and making it a pulse squat keeps you under tension for longer. You're also only staying in that range where you're actually working. So not only can you make the range of motion bigger by actually squatting deeper to make the move more challenging, but you can actually shrink the range of motion to keep more time under tension, which will also advance the movement. Think even about combining the basic bodyweight squat with a pulse squat. Maybe you do a full squat and then you pulse at the bottom a few times and then you do another full squat. By changing that range of motion and how much time you're spending under tension, you're going to advance that basic bodyweight move. Tip number 4 is use tempos to your advantage. Not only can we speed up movements, but we can also slow them down as well. We can even combine tempos back to back to create more of a challenge for ourselves in our workouts and increase our training density. So a lot of times when we think about advancing moves, we think turn the basic bodyweight squat into a jump squat or turn that basic push-up into a plyo push-up. And that is a great way to make your body have to apply more force and really challenge your body in a new way. You can also slow down the tempo. Think about a slow lower down on the push-up or a slow squat down. You can even do a slow lower down on the single leg deadlift to advance the movement as well. By slowing down the tempo, especially the eccentric portion of a lift, not only are you going to challenge your body in new ways, but you can actually create more muscle tissue damage, and that could lead to better muscle hypertrophy. So don't be afraid to change up the tempo of movements to really advance those movements and spend more time under tension, because that time under tension can lead to better results. Even use different tempos back to back. A lot of times when someone's training at home and they only have a short amount of time and no equipment to advance the movements, I'll use a hold followed by reps. When you do that hold, you're staying under tension, and if you've ever tried to do a wall sit and then do bodyweight squats, they're sure a lot harder than if you just did the bodyweight squats alone. Because of that hold beforehand, you've really fatigued the muscle before going into a movement that would otherwise be easy. You could also do just basic reps followed by more explosive reps, and that will make the explosive reps even more challenging. You could also do slow reps followed by explosive reps, or explosive reps followed by slow reps. By using the different tempos, you can really challenge your body in new ways without adding any loads. We have to remember there's so many different ways we can progress movements, and even sometimes it's just doing the same but different. So while you might be doing the exact same movement, those different tempos can really add up. Tip number 5 is to adjust your training density. So when we don't have loads, when we don't have a way to really progress movement with equipment, we can also increase our volume. However, a lot of times when we think about increasing our training volume, we just go to training longer. But you can't necessarily spend 2-3 hours training at home. So if you only have 15 minutes, how can you get more volume out of that time? Think about increasing your training density. What that means is by using just the 15 minutes and actually trying to increase the volume in that 15 minutes, you can increase your overall training density without training longer. That just means you're getting more work done in the same amount of time or even a shorter amount of time. So think about using intervals to your advantage. Think about trying to get as many reps in a shorter time or just a set amount of time as you can. So if you set a timer for 1 minute, instead of just doing 8 to 12 reps like you might normally do, try and shoot for 15 or 20. Try and eke out that extra rep to increase your training density. You can also shorten rest periods. When you're using body weight, maybe you cycle through the muscles you're working. So instead of just going all chest exercises back to back where you actually need to rest in between to recover, think about doing a chest, then a leg, then maybe an ab exercise so that you're continuing to work during the time that you have while getting more work done in that time. By allowing your body to rest and recover while you're working a different area, you can then train with more intensity when you do get back to that exercise. Using these 5 tips, you can get more out of your bodyweight training. I know sometimes when we think we can't hit the gym, we think we're not going to get the same results and that we're just going to go backwards. But if you really dial in your bodyweight workouts and you use tempos to your advantage, you use different variations, you really increase your training density, you can get great results even if you're short on time, even if you have to work out at home or you're traveling. To help you implement all of these techniques, I wrote up 2 different workouts that will allow you to use your body weight to get some fabulous results even when you're short on time. Check them out in the video description. So don't think, hey, I can't make it to the gym, so I'm just going to do nothing. Really dial in your bodyweight workouts to not only improve your muscular strength, but even your muscle hypertrophy. If you liked the video, make sure to like it, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe. We're posting new videos each week.